Welcome to Talking About Speedway. Con Migro and Graeme Sinden with you. Con Migro have been a busy weekend of racing all around the state, in actual fact.
Well, Graeme, it is good to be back with you. And where do we start and where do we finish about talking about what happened in this last weekend? They were in Albany and they were in Manjimup, they were in Collie, at Geraldton. Wow, it just went on and on and on, and it was just fantastic for Speedway, and the crowds were magnificent.
Well, Con, why don't we start at Geraldton, in fact, where they had 2 nights of racing, Saturday and Sunday, for the Maddington Toyota Sprint Car Series.
That was, and a great result from young Daniel Harding, Luke Dillon, the South Australian driver, and Jason Kendrick. It's good to see Luke back in WA. He's a former national speed car champion, a great competitor. Harding and Kendrick, in fact, all 3 of those guys have been a little bit in struggle street in recent times, so Geraldton brought the best out of them, and to see Daniel in the winner's circle for the first time for some weeks was fantastic.
Well, isn't it great? I mean, because none of those guys really had competed on the Geraldton track, only 360 metres long, so a little bull ring by our standards. And for Jason and Daniel, it was good to see them up on the podium.
It was, and I suppose when you look at what we've been talking about in recent months, it's probably the sort of thing that our drivers need to do to get away from the motorplex and have opportunities like they race at Albany, they're racing at Geraldton. Now next one they're going to Kalgoorlie. They've done Bunbury. I believe they might have one at Manjimup as well. So when you see them driving on different size tracks and different sorts of surfaces, it gives those guys an opportunity to hone their skills in a different way and in a better way.
Well, let's go and have a look at Sunday night now, the Geraldton City Speedway again, Saturday and Sunday night. Dane Kingshot was the victor there from Luke Dillon, second again, and Callum Williamson this time.
Yeah, well, young Dane's pretty like the Oldfields. He's everywhere, and they reckon on the first night he drove very ordinary. His car got smashed a little bit too, which didn't help him. But by gee, when he wants to, he puts his race face on big time, and on the point scoring night on the Sunday night, he did it very well. And again, Dillon, I think that's very good because Luke Dillon's virtually visiting ground that he went over once before with the Diamond Bay team, because he raced with him very early in his Speedway career, or in the Diamond Bay's Speedway career. And it was good that they got together, and the results were very, very good for Diamond Bay.
You have to ask the question, Con, for Diamond Bay, why they don't just bring him over and put him in the car and leave him. He's a terrific driver. He's been good for Diamond Bay over a long period of time. He looks after the car and he gets results.
Well, Graeme, it's the same as what you and I both said when we were sort of rooting for young Dane to get the job with the Bunbury team. They were bringing the Madsons and the Tapnells and world-class drivers, and rightly so too. But we kept on saying, look, you've got a homegrown star in your own home background. Why don't you use him? And they did. Now you've got the situation with Luke Dillon. He's not an American. He's an Australian. He's only halfway across the desert, and he's again immediately turned them like a 90% result from a weekend's racing.
And that Geraldton track, it's not unlike his home track in a lot of ways, so he would have adapted to that pretty much straight away. But he hasn't been doing much driving this season, so to step into, I'm saying the same car he's driven for Diamond Bay before, but a different car for him again from what he has been driving last season. So that result for him was terrific.
Yes, I believe the Dillon family have a weekend hut at Murray Bridge, so he probably thought he was back in Murray Bridge because that's his home track now, and we all know he's a fabulous competitor, a very skilled competitor. As you said, he drives to survive, and of course he drives to win too, but he doesn't do dumb things.
Well, look, excuse me, let's have a look at the Maddington Toyota Sprint Car Series Championship now. Dane Kingshot 2708 points from Callum Williamson 2584. He's skipped away a little bit now, Con.
Yeah, he has, and as I've been saying for the last couple of weeks, it's his to lose, and certainly he's not going to do that now. He's a fabulous competitor, and what a wonderful season he's had. He's probably surpassed his own record. He's won in New South Wales, he's won in Bunbury, he's won at the Motorplex, and now he's won at Geraldton. So you don't get much better than that.
Well, on the screen now, Con, Callum Williamson, 124 points deficit there. I think that's going to be hard to bridge the gap.
Yep, it is. I feel very sorry for Caden Manders. I don't know what's gone wrong there. and I'm pretty easy to say, but he started off with a big bang at the beginning of the season, and the gear's good. And I just don't know the reason why that they're having that streak of bad luck. But look, I know they're a new team, and I bet you when they come out for the 2026-27 season, we'll probably see a lot better and rejuvenated Caden.
Well, let's have a quick look at the Buoyant Upseller Sprint Car Driver of the Year in conjunction with the Spirit of Speedway on SEN Radio. And the points there, Con, let me just bring that up. Here we go. So there we are. Dane Kingshot again in this competition has also skipped away to a bit of a handy lead.
So we better warn Dane that we'll be probably sharing a champers with him because I, again, would say that it'd be highly unlikely he would lose that series. And what a fantastic competition that's been this year.
Now, National Championship, Con, at Pinjar Park for the Open Outlaw Karts, and a man that I've got plenty of time for is Tim Bogus.
Yes, well, he's a former motorcycle star, now in the outlaw karts, and he's racing at a track that he knows pretty well as well, so that was good. And the crowd, I mean, I don't know the numbers, but I had some photos that Peter Roebuck sent me of the crowd, and they were very encouraging, so that's good.
So I've just got some updates here. Tim Bogus was the National 450 champion. Jai Pigden, it was his birthday, son of Trent, of course. He won the box stock gold, and James Nightingale won the senior non-wing event. So Outlaw National Championships up at Pinjar Park, Con, a good outcome for WA drivers there.
Well, that's something we'll probably get used to using at the Motorplex on the motorcycle track. So that may be something that Gavin could look at for the future, particularly on Fast Fridays and special events.
Now, here's talking about special events. Here's another special event. Michael Hammond, WA Street Stock champion. He's won 2 national championships and now pulled off the WA championship. A great victory for him. And as we know, Jason Crowe, I should say, sent us some information on that. And that was a great event, Con.
Well, it was, I believe, 1,500, 2,000. It got to a stage earlier in the night, they couldn't allow any more cars into the ground, so they had to direct the cars to outside parking. And going back to young Michael, it's good to think that he's such a fabulous racer here in West Australia. He has never won a state title until last Saturday night, which was fantastic. And they had over 40 cars that nominated and raced, and they reckoned that the race meeting was, well, it just had to be seen to believe. So the people that were there, they had a wonderful night.
Well, just some other results on that competition, Con. Peter Herbert was second from Mount Barker and Shane Wild third from Manjimup. And Gavin Minty, in fact, was fourth. He had to come from the B main, but there was 1.2 seconds separated the top 5, Con.
Yeah.
And the winning victory was 0.093. So how good is that?
Fantastic. And Graeme, on that photo you have up on the screen there to the right of us, to the left of the people probably watching it at home, the volunteers. This is just a sub-thing that you were talking to me before going to air, just the sort of people that are required just to get a show off the ground.
Well, 44 volunteers, as you say, Con. I was very pleased to put up there, and thanks to Jason Crowe for sending us that information on Collier. Great event and well attended, as you say.
Yes.
Now, let's have a look at what else we've got coming up here, Con, down at Albany.
Yes, good to see Tom.
Albany Wild West Series.
Yeah, Tom Buddha-Payat winning that from William Douglas and Rob Goldie. Good to see Robbie getting into the top 3. But Tom Payat was pretty good. Now, there's an interesting thing. Graeme Jones was saying to me on the Saturday, it rained most of the morning and it was very overcast. He said it was freezing cold. The wind was coming off the North Pole or the South Pole. And he was really concerned whether they'd get the show off the road, but they did. And I think that would have affected the crowd. But he said the racing was superb in the end.
And I noticed that Tom was driving the blue and white car, which was Gwen's car. So that was a great victory for Tom in the blue and white Graeme Jones number 4 car.
Absolutely, and because the colours that Graeme drove with a lot of distinction and throughout his career, as we called him the quiet achiever when he won an Australian title. So it must have been very gratifying for him.
So we've got a special treat, Con. Let's go for a quick break, and when we come back, Jason Sutton will be our special guest.
Fantastic.
Bring the kids for free. Friday Friday and Saturday night is Speedway night. 2 huge nights, March 6 and 7. The best of the best battle out for the WA late model title at the Perth Motorplex. Stars from the USA, interstate invaders taking on the locals. World-class racing at Australia's best speedway. Plus the Bella Modular Home Sprint Car Silver Cup in all-out winged warfare. Bring your family, bring your friends, bring the kids for free. Grab your tickets, motorplex.com.au.
Our special guest on Talking About Speedway, Jason Sutton, General Manager of Late Model Association WA. Welcome to the program, Jason.
Pleasure to be here.
Well, Jason, it's on the eve of one of the biggest shows in the history of WA late model racing in particular, $100,000 to be won over the next few weeks, or next week and a bit, 5 days and 14 nights or something. You're excited, the teams?
Oh, yeah, we're pumped up as a committee. The LMRWA, put in a good effort, but the teams are pumped up to go 5 nights of fury at the Perth Motorplex. And I tell you what, we can't wait to get into it with the $100,000 prize pool. It's going to be massive.
Now, you have attracted quite a top interstate and international field. That's very exciting too, because in America in particular, it's the start of their American season. So to get them to come over here at this time of the year is pretty special.
Yeah, it is. It's a little bit hard at the time of the year, but I think if we build this up enough, Con and Graeme, that teams will want to come out here anyway, like they do with the sprint cars. So hopefully we can keep pushing forward and make this event even bigger for an annual thing. But to have 3 Americans out here, and quality Americans too, with Jody Knowles, Jeff Roth and Shane Clanton, is going to be an absolute, fun thing for the fans to see, because 2 of those drivers I've never seen before. And Jeff Roth told me, he said, I normally bring a knife to a gunfight, but this year I'm bringing 2 guns to the gunfight. So he's bringing 2 big engines, and he means some business. And Shane Clayton is obviously a big name, voted in the top 25 USA drivers in the United States on many polls. So he's the man to beat over here at the moment, I think, for this Speedweek series.
Yes, very good.
Jason, I noticed you've got 2 from New South Wales as well, Ben Nicastri and Todd Bailey. Tell us a little bit about them. I don't know too much about them.
Yeah, Nicastri, he's a second-generation racer. His father was very, very good. Todd Bailey's been over here before. They both have. Unfortunately, Ben, last time he came for the Australian title, he flipped over in turns 1 and 2 and had a bit of a bad run. So, unfortunate for him, I'm sure he's going to be, chomping at the bit to better himself on that one.
Very famous name.
Then you've got Todd Bailey, who's a fantastic guy and a great advocate for the sport. And he's part of the Red Dog Racing sort of syndicate that's come over with Shane Clanton in a 2-car team.
And Alex Sweeney and Rob Hamilton from Queensland?
Yeah, super eager, those guys. Keen as mustard to come to Western Australia. We're just organising a car for them right now with Maddington Toyota, so they can hoon around and pick up some parts and do some shopping. So, they're really keen to be here in Western Australia and put on a show for the West Australian fans.
So how do you think the whole thing will be accepted by the fans? I think when you look at the lineup you've got, and plus the local talent, particularly the Oldfield boys have been doing some pretty special stuff. You've got Abby Pickering now starting to make a name, and Veronica McCann. So the ingredients are there, aren't they?
Yeah, I think we've got a really good mixture over the series, and we've got some drivers that have been sort of back markers that are really going through the mid-pack and starting to push to the front. Now, Peter Walker's another one. So the quality's definitely coming through. The Oldfields obviously be up there and the Kai Blights of the world. But we've got a few guys back too. Freddie Kinsella's coming back. So there's a few guys that have come back, which is going to throw a bit of a spanner into works. And I don't think it's going to be as cut and dry as people think, maybe. And having 100 a lap, I tell you what, there's going to come a time where so many tactics come into play, Con. It's not just going to be loud pedal and get going. And Graeme, you'll be interested in this one where, the tactics will be the part that plays out at the end of 100 laps.
Oh, goodness me, I'll say. You talked about Kai Blight. I mean, whoever it is, whether they're from the East Coast or USA, they'll have to bring their own game to knock him off, in my view. But then you throw in the likes of Craig Wasbergen, who's coming back to have another crack. He was sensational this time last year. And then listen to this, Jamie, Warren, Jason and Beau Oldfield, 4 of them in the field. I mean, that's some pretty quality racing right there, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. I mean, if you're going to go gambling, you've got 4 Oldfields, you may as well chuck an Oldfield in there somewhere. Yeah. Really quality, and bring those Eastern Staters and Americans in. You really don't know who's going to take each night. Having the West Australian title this week coming up, the 6th and 7th, and then you've got the MHR Performance Parts Hump Day Hustle on the 11th, and then the Late Model Nationals 100 on the 14th, 15th. So it's a lot of racing, and I think the fans are going to get right behind it.
So would you explain the format for this weekend, and then for the big one, the 100 lapper, just explain how it'll work and what will the fans be expected to see?
Yeah, look, qualifying is going to be a big thing for all three events. So we're going to do qualifying, which late models really don't do. So that's going to be a massive thing for late models in the arm, because sprint cars do it all the time and the fans, don't see that. So I think that's going to be the key to a lot of the racing. And then you'll do your normal heat race, and you've got to qualify into the field. 36 cars for this weekend, and you're only going to have 24 in the main event. You've got to get going early. There's no hanging back. With the late model 100, it's going to be an interesting one. Still some things to work out, but we're going to have a fuel stop at 50, because not all cars can run the 100 laps. So when you do a fuel stop, there are going to be some certain changes, and you might be able to change a tyre, but then go to the rear of the field. And that's not just if you're on the lead lap, that might be all the way back to the back of the field. So it's going to chop and change a few things up, and it'll be interesting to see what tyres are picked and how much fuel you're going to run and all these kind of things, because our guys have never done that stuff before. They've never had to worry about it. No. So the format's going to be different over the sort of the 3 nights, but interesting and exciting.
Yeah.
And will it be 50 laps, or if there's an accident or a yellow come on or something of that nature, will they bring the stop forward to say 45 laps and then do 55 to finish off?
That's a good question. At the moment, we're budgeting on the 50 because of the fuel tanks with the big engines like Kai Blight has and stuff like that. We don't really want to push those past 50. So unless there's one at 49, I reckon, I think we'll still stop at 50 and make sure that fuel stop happens then.
So it's going to be very much a nightmare for the stewards to keep control of that. And in particular, when the stoppage happens, to make sure that no one does change a wheel, because if they change a wheel, as you just said, they go to the back of the bus.
Yes, correct. The Motorplex have a good team on the infield, and they'll all be aware of what's going on and informed. And the Late Model Racing Western Australia, we've got a few extra people that are going to be down there and looking for those kind of things, so that no one sneaks through to the keeper, and we keep an eye on everybody.
Wow.
Now, according to my sheet here that I've got in front of me, Jason, Abby Pickering, Veronica McCann, and...
and look, Veronica's been very good around the Motorplex for many years, and Abby Pickering won that feature race not long ago. So you never really know who's going to get up and win this one.
Very exciting talents, young Abby, and so is Veronica for that matter. So it's fantastic they can get in and mix it with the boys, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, and look, it's great for the sport. I don't think Veronica and... Abby really think about as they're females racing in late models. They're just competitors racing in late models, and that's why we see them too in the LMRWA Pro Dirt Series.
Now, when you look through some of these competitors, Jason, we'll take the old fields for argument's sake, then Abby, then Veronica. They've all got the crate engines in them pretty much, so I'm tipping that they'll do particularly well on the 100 lapper, because it'll be a bit kinder on their engines and a bit softer. Fuel usage won't be as much. So I think they've got a bit going for them, and the track should suit them later in the 50 lapper, I would think.
Yeah, that's correct. And I think you're right, Graeme. Throttle control will be a big one. The track's going to slicken off, we know that, with big wheels on it all night. Being 100 laps, it'll probably take a little bit of rubber, so that might play into the part of the bigger engines a bit later on. But generally, you've got a heavy race car, but a lot of horsepower, so... You sort of want to detune the car a little bit and be light on the throttle to run around. That's why the off-fields are so good at what they do. They understand the car, the setups, and how much traction they'll get to that track. So that's why they're always really, really hard to beat. Good on their shocks and pretty talented behind the wheel.
We'll take a short break and we'll be back with more Speedway right after this.
At Maddington Toyota, we're all about great deals, value, quality and service. Head to our website for quality new, demo and pre-owned vehicles with videos so you can find your perfect car. We can organise the details by phone and email and deliver the car right to you. Check out the entire Toyota range, plus a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles, all backed by our real commitment to great service. Maddington Toyota, great deals and great service. Oh, what a feeling.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Speedway. Jason Sutton, our special guest. Jason, we're talking about late models, 5 days of racing in 9 days. A big program for you guys.
Yeah, massive. And I want a big shout out to the Perth Motorplex for, backing late models in for this speed week. we had the Australian title in a sort of a speed week last year, and to be backed in without an Australian title for this magnitude is a brilliant effort. So we got to say thank you to the Perth Motorplex and also Red Dog Racing, who supported and chucked in some extra cash and bringing Shane Clanton over, and people like Frank Scarterfield, who's just put up $5,000 for an overall winner of this series of 5 nights too. So it's going to be some big money and some big racing coming up.
Now, Jason, you did mention earlier about if you're a punting man, you'd be a nut to leave the oldfields out of your calculation. We know it's highly illegal to gamble on Speedway, but just as a point, you've got this weekend with the state title and the following week, the big 100 lapper. Have you been brave enough to stick your neck out and pick a win on either one of them? Sorry to put you on the line.
No, that's right. It is hard, but the American experience is going to be very, very hard to beat with Shane Clanton. He's going to be running a Capital race car. He's the boss of Capital. And he's got another car coming across as we speak. So he'll run the newer car in the 100 lapper. His experience on a slick track might just pay off. But state title wise, I think Kai Blight's going to be very, very hard to beat. Jamie Oldfield, unfortunately, has done 2 engines, so I'm not sure what his engine program is, but he is nominated. So if he's nominated, Jamie, in anything, a shopping trolley, a lower motor, it doesn't matter, he'll have a crack. Warren also. It's just going to be so many good guys and girls out there. Just, it's hard to pick one, but I think Shane Clanton will be the 100-lap winner, and I think state title-wise, I'll go Kai Blight. Midweek hustle, I'll pick, doesn't matter. I think it'll be up for grabs.
How many laps for the state title?
I believe it's 35. I haven't looked exactly today, but yeah, I think it's the 35-lap final. So that'll be a good little hit out for the 100-lapper coming up. But it'll be elbows up, that's for sure, and there'll be no holds barred with 24 cars in the feature race.
And will the state title be over 2 nights? Will it be qualifying first Friday night and then the finals on Saturday? Yeah.
Yes, correct. Yeah, so Friday night qualifying, then the heat races, and then into the Saturday where we finish it off. Just like most nights, state titles are, really prestigious, and we want to make that in the LMRWA too. We've been around for probably since '97, I believe, Con. I think it was when Late Models got inducted, or introduced, and just building that history. Now we've got some really good history behind the Late Models, and I think it's grown to a big event.
It's hard to imagine when you look back, when you say those years, where have they gone? Because it only seems like yesterday. And to see what you are all doing now is quite amazing. And even the setup, like the management of Late Models, is very unique because no other speedway division or discipline in the sport has a managing position like you people have.
Yeah, thanks, Con. And I think that's due to good people early on with Late Models Western Australia. They had a thought pattern and a process that they wanted to follow, and, some good brains behind it all. And I guess through the years, they've had some good people coming up. So we're just really, as a new committee, just following on for what the people have done before us. And hopefully we can just keep pushing it to the next level with people like, Gavin Migro at the Perth Motorplex, and good people like, Red Dog Racing with Peter Mewett and Frank Scarterfield, and all our corporate partners with Maddington Toyota and Canning Vale Toyota. Those people are helping us push Late Models to the next level.
You want to say that on Saturday night of this week, one of our special guests at the Speedway will be Assured Learning, and we have a recording studio at their headquarters in High Wycombe. And so you better say good day to all those people when you get a chance to on the night, and thank them for what they're doing for the sport, not necessarily for Late Models, but for Speedway in all.
Oh, absolutely. It's imperative, that we look after the corporate sponsors, the people who look after Speedway. At the end of the day, we've got to work together. McPhee Freight's another one for us. They're a big sponsor, and Ross's Auction and Values. And, without those people, we can't do what we do. No. So it's all holding hands and making sure that we all work together.
Jason, I notice in the nomination list, no Brent Vosbergen this time around. He's a draw card in his own right, but injured, but not in a speedway accident.
No, he's having a problem with his shoulder, unfortunately. And
did you kick the ladder down, did you? Did you kick the ladder down?
I was over at racing the other day with Craig and Brent, and Brent was eager to do it, and his doctor said he actually could race the state title and do the week. But if he injures it again, he'll be out for like 12 months, and he didn't want to do that. So he's playing it safe, and, we lose one Vosberg and we get Craig in the car, and he's no slouch either.
No, he's pretty good.
Now, I wanted to ask you about this 100-lapper. That's been a dream of Gavin Migro's for some time, and he put it to you guys as a committee. What was the thought process of all of the guys racing? How did they feel about the 100-lapper?
To be honest, I think there was half probably straight in going, yeah, hell yeah, let's do that. And then probably half of them were like, what, can we actually do that? Is that possible? Because we've never done that kind of thing before. And I think as you put the pieces together like a jigsaw puzzle, it just starts to form and the excitement builds. And I think we've gone from some people going like, not 100% sure to like, let's get it on. Like we've got an opportunity, a unique opportunity to have a 100-lap race, out of America and to be the first state to do it. Bit of intrepidation, I would say, and I don't think we'd say that lightly. Everyone's looking at us and saying, I wonder how this is going to go. We don't know exactly either, but we can only plan with the Motorplex to do all the things that we want to do, and hopefully it pays off and we have an absolute ripper race.
Jason, if anything, going back in the days of when I used to run Clement in the early part of the Motorplex, I used to say to the competitors at drivers' meetings, we're leaders, not followers, and that's still carrying on to this day. It's quite fantastic, and to think that even in such a short history that late models are having, that we're now going to attempt an unbelievable race. We're going into territory we've never been to before, a 100-lap race. That's magnificent, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, Con. You've got to keep pushing forward and have new ideas. The fans pay the good money and they want to see change and good things, and you can't just do the same thing all the time. The sprint cars have gone in and they've got things like high limit and, international stars, and late models have had a few international stars over the years when they had the Wild West Tour and all that. But now I think we've got a unique opportunity to put these 5 nights together of fury and have Late Model Speedweek as the home of late models in March.
Beautiful.
I was just going to put it to you that when you're in the pits and you see these guys guys and girls get out of their cars after a 30 or a 35 lapper, it looks like they've run 2 or 3 marathons. So to do a 50 lapper and then to go and do it all again, that's a big ask, isn't it?
It is, and I think teams have got to look at things like, maybe not a full cool suit, but something that do with, like, say, a Jason Oldfield, who does get quite warm in the car, and it can affect him. I've seen it so those kind of things, they might need some ice vests and things like that on the night. So those guys have got to start thinking a little bit outside the box of what they would normally do. When we take everything out on the infield, because we've got to do those changes in the fuel at 50 laps, they might have to think, we need ice water, we need, what can we do? What's allowed in the rules and all those kind of things. So, it's definitely a different thing. And on multi-levels, it's going to be exciting.
Now, can the driver break the belts and get out of the race car at that stoppage, or he has to stay in the race car?
That's a great question, Con, and I believe at the moment he wouldn't be able to, because it's going to be a 5-minute sort of maximum stop. So to get a guy out, I mean, who knows? You might have to go to the toilet. So, yeah, I'm not sure. That would be one for the stewards to sort of go through. But, yeah, it's a great question and something I'll probably raise straight after this conversation.
Well, I reckon what happens is Wilson Brewing going to have a ton of beer out there at the end of the race for the guys to get into.
I think that's a great idea. We'll definitely, Brendan from Wilson, we'll get an esky out there full of nice cold Wilson Brewing products, and I'm sure everyone's going to crack one even if they don't win, because $10,000 up for grabs too. That's no small money for late models.
I'll second that motion.
Yeah.
We'll have one together, Con.
And will they have to separately qualify for the 100-lapper to get grid positions for that one?
Yeah, so we'll do 3 lots of qualifying, one for the state title, one for the hump day, and then one for the 100-lapper. So the first night will be mainly qualifying, and then one round of heats, I believe, and then the finals for the second night.
Mm-hmm. Well, Jason, it's been terrific having you on the program here. We thank you for your time and wish you well for the 5 days of racing in 9 days. It'll be epic late model racing in Western Australia.
I'm excited.
Absolutely. Thanks very much for having me. We're looking forward to 5 nights of fury at the Perth Motorplex, Late Model Speedweek. How does it go, Con?
You'll be there.
Exactly.
Well, that's our show for today. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time right here on Talking About Speedway.